Freight Car Safety Standards Part 215 Subpart B Freight Car Components Module 6. Module projects apply FRA safety standards recognize deviation from standards. Subpart B Overview. 101 Scope, 103 Defective Wheel, 105 Defective Axle, 105 Defective Plain Bearing Box General, 109 Defective Plain Bearing Box General Lubrication System, 111 Defective Plain Bearing Defective 113 Defective Plain Bearing Wedge, 115 Defective Roller Bearing, 117 Defective Roller Bearing Adapter, 119 Defective Freight Car Traffic, 121 Defective Car Body, 123 Defective Couplers, 125 Defective Uncoupling Device, 127 Defective Drafts Arrangement, Defective 129 Defective Cushioning Device. Truck components starting from the far left corner to and then clockwise motion. Side frame bolster, axle, center plate rim, side bearing or pad, brake beam, wheel pedestal roof, adapter, bearing column, gib, spring coil, loaded coils, compression member, tension members. Defective wheel. The flange gauge is 7/8 of an inch or less, measured at 3/8 of an inch above the tread. High flange 1.5 inch more than from the top of the flange. Defective wheel. Rim thickness 11/16 of an inch or less. Defective wheel rim, flange, plate, hub for crack or leak, brake. Defective wheel, chip gouge, flange 1/2 an inch or length with a 1/2 inch width. Slid, flat, shelled spots more than 2.5 inches in length or two or more joining more than 2 inches in length, and then show the chip in the flange, a slid, flat spot, and a shelling. Defective wheel, loose wheel evidence for the oil seepage on the hub, friction bearing, overheating evidence for the reddish brown, discolorization 14-inch plate, both sides. Moving from the top left corner and clockwise, crack, broken flange, plate, and hub. Scrape, dent, or gouge, welding unless this car is being moved for repair. Overheated evidence of the discolorization, loose evidence of oil seepage, oil on back hub and back plate. Defective axle is a cracked or broken gouge in surface between the wheel seat more than 1/8 of an inch in depth. So the scrape or dent and gouge more than 1/8 of an inch deep, a break or crack in the defective axle. Defective axles, actual conjunction, plain bearing collar broken or cracked, journal overheated evidence of blue-black discolorization. Defective axle, plain bearing journal, surface around the axle, fillet of the axle has been rigid, depressed in circumferential score, corrugation, scratch, continuous streak, pitting, rust, etching, shown on the crack score, pitting, ridge, continuous streak, overheated corrugation, rusting, stitching, depression, and scratch. Defective plain bearing box, no free oil, box lid missing, broken, stuck in a open, foreign matter affecting proper lubrication, could damage bearing, dirt, sand, or coal and dust, and show the box lid is missing, broken from the open except for the received service, does not contain visible free oil, foreign matter. Defective plain bearing journal loop system, lubricating pads, tear, extended half length of the wet, scorched, burner, glazed, deteriorated fabric, improving proper lube, exposed center core metal parts in contact with journal, pad missing or not in contact with journal, shows fabric covering cross section, lubricating pad in the core, shows the glazing pad not contacting the journal, or deteriorated or decayed fabric. Defective plain bearing, missing or cracked or broken, bearing line loosing piece broken, including brass, overheated evidence by melted Babbitt smoke from hot oil or journal surface, and then show the bearing loose, cracked, piece broken out of, broken or melted Babbitt. Defective plain bearing wedge, we have the missing or cracked or broken designated position, and show the cracked or broken, and then show the defective roller bearing, show signs of overheating evidence of discolorization, bearing components loose or missing cap, screw, bearing sealed, damaged, or loosing, permitting loose of lubricant and clearly formed droplets, and show the loose, missing cap, screw, leakage, lubricant, and clearly formed droplets, broken, missing, improperly applied cap screw. Defective roller bearing derailment inspection testing. Railroad must inspect, test by visual examination, external damage, and spinning freely over the wheel set, manually rotating bearing to detect any unusual noise. Defective roller bearing disassembly for the bearings of the bearing. Disassembly must occur with the bearing show the extensive external design damage. Make unusual noise when wheel set is spun freely. The bearing is manually rotated with the truck bearing involved with the derailment speed of more than 10 miles an hour. Truck dragged down the ground for more than 200 feet, or the defect of the bearing shall be repaired and replaced before the cars return to service. Defective roller bearing adapter, crack broken, not in designated position, crack worn to extend the truck frame of the roof liner contacts and show the old type of the narrow adapter relief of the center only. The crowns, not newly narrow adapter showing cast relief areas in center at the ends. And this shows when crowning have worn extend with the truck frame contacts relief area adapter must be scraped. Defective car, truck, or bolster, side frame, or bolster broken, crack a quarter inch or more across the tension member and show the cracking position in the bolster, crack a quarter more in the tension member, transverse direction on the tension manual. Defective freight car, friction snubbers elements beyond the wear indicator, broken, show the anywhere limited, not national C1 truck. Anywhere limited to not what's worn, 16th of an inch depth or less in friction casting, and then show the stabilized truck. Any limit to wear indicator friction casting. Defective freight car and truck friction hydraulic snubbers. Show the snubber activating spring broken, missing, snubber wear plate loose, missing, worn through, snubber friction or hydraulic broken, and then it shows the hydraulic snubber leaking, clearly formed troop droplets. And it shows the slope pockets and slope surfaces of the side friction plate. Defective freight car, truck, side bearing roller type, part broken or missing in contact one end with the body bolster clearance from the body bolster, except more than 3/4 inch on one end diagonally opposite the ends. Defective freight car, side bearings resilient, part or broken missing, not in contact with wedge top bearing as intended by design. Defective freight car, truck spring, do not maintain travel with compressed solid, more than one outer spring broken in cluster. Defective freight car, truck, contact between truck bolster female center plate casting rim with base body with a center plate brake beam shelf support warned explicitly will not support brake beam. Defective car body, show the clearance for the ATR more than ATR less than 2.5 inches clear, center sill broken, cracked more than 6 inches, buckled more than 2.5 or any of the 6-inch length. And the coupler carrier broken, missing, non-resilient with the F coupler plug door safety hanger missing. Shows the defects. Alright, defective car body, show the center plate not properly secured, any portion missing, center plate with 2 or more cracks thoroughly visible cross section, broken side sill cross bearer body bolster. Your defective coupler cracks on the body E-type shows the cracked outside shaded areas, cracks 2 inches in the length of the additive length of 2 inches shaded areas BB or CC. Section broken out in any area of the coupler, severe bent out of alignment. Defective coupler cracks body type F. F-type cracks outside shaded areas, cracked 2 inches in length with additional length with 2 inches in shaded areas BB and C or CC. Section broke out in any area of the coupler, severely bent or out of alignment. E-couplers part 101 show the 4 repairs of top lock lift hole cap, caps E2A. Type of operation lift lock assembly E6 rotary lock lift E13 passenger type number 1 rotary lock lift assembly E16 rotary passenger number 2 rotary lock lift assembly number 2 E30 E17 articulated lock lift assembly signal E24 double E25 knuckler thrower E30 coupler lock E48 HT and coupler knuckle E50 HT, and that's your E-coupler, F-coupler parts, rotary lock lift assembly, F7 the rotary signal, F8 the rotary double furnished and assembled, F12 top lock lift assembly, E6 knuckle thrower, 531 coupler lock rotary disposition, 541 HT, coupler top operation, F540 F45 HT, coupler number knuckler F51 HT. Draft coupler parts, knuckle broken, cracked inside pulling face, knuckle pin throwing missing or inoperative coupler retaining pin locking missing and broken. Show the knuckle cracked or broken, knuckle thrower missing or inoperative, and then show the key retainer. Defective coupler parts like lift inoperative, no anti-creep, coupler lock missing, inoperative, break bent or broke, crack broken, defective draft arrangement. Draft gear inoperative yoke broken, draft key retainer missing, inoperative follower plate missing or broken, and show the essential draft lug fastener, the non-draft gear, and broken yoke, follower plate, broken yoke, draft key, retainers, coupler, and shank, and trigger. Effective draft arrangement, EOC inoperative liquid filling up with clearly from droplets, vertical coupler, pin, retainer plate, missing, and it showed the splice plates, break, blind, strike casting, standard draft keys, draft plate, retainer, draft plate, inspection, restoring mechanism type E, backstop center fill, blind coupler key, and then showed the integral backstop casting, drafting key, coupler pin, status plate, draft key, retainer type F coupler, carrier plate, restoring mechanism, vertical pin, retainer plate missing or has been fastener. Defective cushioning pad, broken inoperative missing part and left sliding component have been effectively immobilized. So is the sliding center sill, car body, broken inoperative missing part, returning spring assembly piston, fixed piston stop, fixed piston stop piston. Restricted cars. Prohibits use of certain railroad freight cars in revenue service unless the FAA approval is granted with one more of the following more than 50 years old, equipped with Appendix A components, equipped with a Dura for underframe constructed before April 1st, 1950, except for the caboose, one last car on the train. And that's your end module of Module 6.